Hi guys, welcome back to See The Counsellor. Yes, today I bring you guys a story time about the time that I almost got kicked out of uni a few months ago, in January to be specific. Grab your tea because I'm going to be giving you guys tea, or you can walk around and keep doing what you're doing because I'm not going to be doing anything except talking anyway, so you can just listen while you get on with your day. Anyways, so this started with a loan. So this all started with a scholarship I'd applied for. I think it was in summer I applied for it, and they said that they would get back to you by I think it was end of September or something, and I didn't hear back from them, so I chased them up, and then when they eventually responded to me, they said that I was rejected for the scholarship. And I remember just feeling like my whole world had been turned upside down. Like, I now had no money for uni, no money for accommodation, no money to pay my tuition fees, no money for living on. I was like, what am I gonna do? Like, I was just distraught. And I remember from there on, it was just tears and tears and tears for months and months and months and months. Yes, it was very, I would say for me, very stupid of me to kind of put all my hopes in the scholarship and not save up money for uni. All my money that I had, I'd been saving towards my first house. So I wasn't thinking about saving up for uni because I just assumed that I would get the scholarship. Don't ask me why, I just thought I would get it. But yeah, so didn't get the scholarship, and yeah. So fast forward, so I eventually moved to uni, and I was thinking of different places to get a loan to cover half of my tuition, because student finance only gives me enough money to basically cover half of my tuition every single year that I'm going to be studying. The other half has to be funded by me, basically, which I cannot afford on top of paying for accommodation because I'm away from home. So I got a loan from this company, and it was very quick, very easy. They calculated the money that they needed to pay for me. They emailed the university to let them know, because they couldn't send the money to me directly to pay to the uni. They wanted to send the money to the uni directly. So they emailed the uni in around October, November time, and I was also chasing up the university to let them know that I was no longer going to pay for the other half myself. I was going to get a loan to pay the remainder, and the uni is the one that had to converse with the loan company in order to approve the payment. It was not through me. Now, for some dumb reason, the university was delaying everything, and they were literally being unresponsive about the whole thing. They were chilling, relaxing. They were not giving a damn about whether my tuition was going to be paid or not until the going got bad. So let's fast forward to January now. Unfortunately, I ended up in hospital. So from December to January, I was back home with my family for Christmas, obviously. And then towards the end of January, when I was planning to come back, on the last week that I was planning to come back to uni, I ended up going to the hospital for a few days. So that changed my plans. And that's when my tuition was also due. And at this point, I'd kind of forgotten about it because I was in hospital. I was more concerned about my health. But previous to that, around the start of January, I had emailed the uni again for the third time to remind them, please contact the company. They have been trying to contact you. Please speak to them so that they can send the loan to you guys. Of course, the university, what did? They ignored me. And then after I left the hospital and I came back to uni, that's when things started to feel real pressuring to me. I was like, okay, the tuition needs to be paid in the next week, and the university still hasn't responded. I was still corresponding with the loan company, and everything was going well. I was communicating with them. They were letting me know what was going on, and I was letting them know what was going on as well. But the university, we could not get through to the university. So emailing the university, of course, they still wouldn't respond. And then eventually, I remember the day that the tuition was due. Of course, they tried to take money out of my account, and they couldn't because there was no money in my account. So they sent me an email that they do when your payment is rejected, saying something like, if you don't pay the amount that is needed in the next 5 days, we will have to suspend all your access to the university, and you will not be allowed to access the library. You will not be able to go to lectures or use any of the online facilities because we will have to suspend your access to the university. So now I've seen this email, I am flipping out. I am now like, oh my gosh, this is it, 5 days and then I'm out of the uni, because there's no way I'm going to come up with 1.3k to pay out in like 5 days. I was freaking out, okay? I was like, I can't believe it. I came all this way, moved out, studied the whole year, only to be kicked out a few months later. Yeah, I was in shambles. I had no choice but to go to work like the next day. So as soon as work finished, I was like, I'm gonna go to that uni, I'm gonna go to the finance office, and I'm gonna speak to them and tell them to get this sorted. Because at this point, like I said, I had lost my cool and I just couldn't. Because obviously they were not responding to my emails, they were not picking up their phone calls either, no one was answering the phone. So like weeks on end of calling them, no response. So I went to the office now. This poor one lady there, I was telling myself while I was on my way there, don't let your anger loose on this lady, it's not her fault. And I told myself to keep calm and not have a go at her because it was not necessarily her fault, even though she was part of the finance team. And you know, so I got there now, sat down, spoke to her, and I was just explaining to her my situation, and I was like, you guys have been ignoring me, no one's been talking to me. And she was like, we're understaffed, most people are working from home, so we can't always access everything, and no one's ignoring you, we just don't have enough staff, a lot of people are off with COVID. And I was just thinking that, I was just there thinking like, okay, hire more people then, because like look at my situation, because you guys just don't, like, obviously it's not her place to be doing the hiring, but if there's not enough staff, do something about it then. Like, you know, the university should do something about it. So I sat down with her, and the more we spoke, the more I spoke to her, the more I started to get angry and lash out a bit more. And then she was like on her computer, like emailing and checking with people, and then she looked through the emails I'd sent to the finance team, and I was like, you guys need to do this because otherwise I'm going to be kicked out, and it's not my fault, it's your fault because you guys have been ignoring me. She's like, we haven't been ignoring you. And I was like, well, this would have been sorted if I've been emailing you guys about this since October and you guys haven't done anything about it. So now I'm going to be locked out of uni and I'm going to be kicked out because of you guys. At this point, I was so angry, and we were still wearing masks at the time, so she couldn't really see my facial expression properly. And I think it's a good thing, because if she could see my face, yeah, looks would have killed her. My looks would have killed her dead. And then she was like, okay, don't worry, I'm just messaging my colleagues. And then she was typing on her laptop, typing. And then she was like, okay, I'm going to make sure your card doesn't get suspended. And then I'm going to make sure that we email the company and everything will be sorted, don't worry. And at this point, I'd already lost all hope. And I was like, in my head, I was still like already upset. My emotions had already won me over, and I was already upset and angry. So she said all of what she said, and then I was like, okay. And I just was like, okay, fine, whatever. And then I got up and I left. And then as soon as I left, like, I remember like my tears just welling up, and I walked out the building and I went to stand like in a corner to wipe my tears, because I didn't want anyone to see me crying, like randomly walking out the finance office crying. Like, who cries when they come out the finance office? So yeah. So as soon as I finished wiping my tears, I walked home. I think my walk home from the uni is like 6-minute walk to the other campus where I live. I held my tears in as much as I could. And I think I was walking literally looking at the floor, and I felt like everyone was looking at me, but obviously they weren't. It just felt like it. As soon as I got in my room, my curtains were already closed for some reason. I don't know why. I probably didn't open them when I left in the morning. My curtains were closed. I did not switch on my light. I took off my jacket, threw my bag on the floor, threw my coat on the floor, took off my shoes, and I got into my bed and I just started crying. I was like, my career is over before it's even begun. I'm never gonna make it. Why is this happening to me? Like, how could this happen to me? Should I have even come here? Why did I come here? I should have never applied. And yeah, my mind was all over the place, and I remember I was just crying for like a long time. And I messaged one of my friends and I'd kind of told him what was going on, and then he was worried because I wasn't replying to his calls or texts because I was busy crying. Like, I didn't want to be on the phone to someone while I was crying. And I laugh about it now because everything's okay, but I think it was a few days later that eventually everything was sorted. It was past the 5 days deadline. They were sorted and I had my access to the uni. It was restored and everything. So everything was fine in the end. But that just 5 days was just the most stressful time I've had at uni so far, because like I said, this course is expensive, and if you don't come financially prepared like me, it's gonna become overwhelming. And I learned the hard way. I really did. But yes, so I still have one more tuition to pay, I think, this month, so let's hope that goes well. Otherwise there'll be another story time coming out soon. But honestly, thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed the story time. And I will see you again in another video next weekend at 12 p.m. Share, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet. Why haven't you? Leave a little like and leave a comment about your worst university experience. If you can remember your worst university experience, leave it in the comments actually. That would be nice to know. But yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Bye!